Hello Math20-2, welcome to lesson 5, the last lesson for reasoning, and that is reasoning with congruent triangles. So here is our first exercise. Exercise 1 says, on each of the shown flags above, these ones here, mark the congruent triangles with letters A, and then the other set of congruent triangles with letters B. So let's take first a look at the Nova Scotia flag. If I take a look at it, this triangle here is going to be congruent to this triangle here. These angles are the same, so on and so forth. So this is going to be A, B, B. Now we look at the Newfoundland flag. All of these are congruent. A. All those blue ones are congruent, and these two are as well congruent. B. Okay, so now I'm going to give you a couple seconds. Try and figure out the flag of the American Samoa and the Namibia flag. Which triangles are congruent? Then go to the Scotland flag and then the Jamaican flag. So, the flag of American Samoa, we have A and A. And that is all that's congruent. Same with the Namibia flag. There's only this one and this one that's congruent. Now if I look at the Scotland flag, I have this here, and then that's one set of congruent triangles. My next set is here and here. Now the Jamaican flag we have right here and here. And then we also have here and here. Okay, just put arrows pointing into it. All right, so those are all of our symmetrical, or all of our congruent triangles. So these four here are congruent, and these two are congruent. This one has two, a pair of two, and a pair of two. This one has only one pair of two, one pair of two, one pair of two, and another pair of two, one pair of two, and another pair of two. Okay? Now, here are just some definitions of congruent triangles. Normally when we say a triangle is congruent, we use this symbol here. Okay? I will zoom in on it for you. So right there is our symbol that we will use. Oh, it is kind of like a little squiggly with two lines underneath. Okay? Now, this table here is rather important. This is what's going to tell you what is congruent and what is not. Now, if we just have three angles, they could just be, it is not necessarily congruent, it could be just similar. Because if you look at this here, these three angles are the same. Now, there's no side length here, so my sides could be completely different, just the angles are the same, so these are similar triangles, not the same triangles. Think of the pyramids of Egypt. You build this big triangle and you see these other ones that are the exact same scale, the angles are the same, but they're so much smaller, so they're not quite congruent, they're similar. Okay? The next one we're looking at is, we have SSA, now side-side angle. Well, here's an example. We have 1 centimeter, 2.5 centimeters. 1 centimeter, 2.5 centimeters. And the angle right here is the same. But now one of them, the 2.5 centimeters, well, it's not really, is your longest side. In a right angle triangle, that'd be your hypotenuse. And the other one, the 2.5 centimeters, is one of your legs, which would be the okay? So right there, it shows a difference. So why side-side angle cannot work. So what do we need to work? Well, side, side, side. If all three sides are the same, then it will be a congruent triangle. Okay, so here's one of the main ones that works. Side, side, side. The next one is angle, side, angle. Angle, side, angle is also needed to be a congruent triangle. So you could have two angles on the side. Now this one here looks a lot like this no-no to the side, side-side angle, but this one's allowed to work because if we look at it, the angle must be in between the two sides. You did this way back in grade 9, okay, in grade 8 a bit. So the angle must be right in between our two sides in order for it to be congruent. Okay? So these are your laws for congruent. Now, another one is, if you have angle, 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 or angle, angle, side, that is essentially the same as this. Why? Because if I look at this, this here adds up to 90, so then this must be 90 degrees. Now, if I know that, let's say we knew this side was something here, like 3 or something, well then, we can make that angle there, and eventually it just works out, okay? So example would be right here. If I'm making this triangle, and I have 4, and I'm saying this is 60, and this is 30. Well, here we have angle, angle, side. But this works because if that's 60 and that's 30, this here is going to be 90. Therefore, we actually do know a side angle, or an angle side angle, which is this here. So angle, angle, side can make an angle side angle. So that is explained a little bit more down in there. Okay? So that's your fourth congruency, because it essentially is angle side angle. Alright, here we go. Let's take a look at this first set of questions. Okay. It says, in each of these, state the congruence condition. So what makes these conditions congruent? Well, if I look at this here, we know the angle, then we know a side, and then we know an angle. So that is angle, side, angle. Okay? Now let's take a look at this one here. They are the same. You know, an angle, side, angle, they're the same. So it's angle, side, angle. Now let's take a look at this one here. So this one is angle, 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 angle. Well, if we looked back to the page before, does angle, angle, angle work? No, because you could have two shapes that are completely different. Or they're the same angles, but the size lengths could be completely different. So this here, these could be off by 2 millimeters. Each one there is off by 2 millimeters. This might be 2.5 centimeters, and this might be only 2.2 centimeters. And then all of these are off by a couple millimeters as well. Therefore, this is not congruent. They are similar. Okay? Now, let's take a look at this one. We have 3 sides that are the same. Here's one side, there's another side. Here's another one, here's another one, here's one, here's one. So this is side, side, side. Therefore, these are congruent. Now let's take a look at this last one here. Looks like one triangle, but there really is 2 triangles. This side here is the same. It's shared by both of these triangles. Then we have these sides that are the same, and we have an angle. So that is side, angle, side. Hey, that's that one right there. So those are congruent as well. Okay, example 3. In a parallelogram ABCD, prove that ABD is congruent to CDB, and state which congruence condition is being used. So, I'm looking at this here. We have my 2 triangles. Now this one here, we're going to have to use some of the reasoning that we used in lessons before. So I look at this, and I have to try and prove that maybe some of these angles are the same or something. Well, first of all, we know this side is the same as the shared, so it must be the same on both triangles. Next thing we notice is, if we draw this Z, this can help us. We have alternating angles here that are corresponding. That and that are the same. So I'm going to give this an x and this an x. Those two angles are the same, right? So they're alternating along that z. So now we have another z here. It's a parallelogram, so that means these are parallel and these are parallel. Let's take a look at this out. So now we look at this here, we can make another z. With this z, we want our opposite corresponding angles. So this and this. So this is y, and this is y. So now if we look at it, what do we have? We have angle, side, angle, and angle, side, angle that are the same. So these triangles, because of angle, side, angle, these triangles are congruent. Okay? Now, our very last question here. So we want to prove that AD and BC are the same. Okay. Well, if I take a look at this, I'm going to break it down to two triangles that help us. So these are the two triangles I am going to use. Probably use two different triangles. I'm going to use this triangle here. And I am going to use this triangle here. Okay? So, those are my two triangles. If I look at this triangle here, I have side, this whole distance is 7, right? This whole distance is 7. This is 7 and 4. Okay, so the pink one is 7, 4. So I'm looking at triangle AFD. Okay? We know that AF is 7. Okay? And we also know that FD is 4. Okay? Now let's look at the next triangle. We want to look at triangle CFB. Well, for this one, we know BF is 7. Okay, that's this distance here, that orange is 7. And we know CF, that distance there, is 4. Okay? Now, also, both of these share angle F. Okay? So angle AFD is the same as angle CFB. Okay? And we also know okay, those are equal. So when we also look at this, we have BF equals AF. We know CF equals FD. Okay? So following that, we have right here, we know the side, angle, side that are similar, right? We have a side, angle, and side. And then here we have a side, angle, and side. So then, therefore, these are congruent due to side, angle, side. Now, how does that help us? Look at this line. This line must be is part of this triangle, right? And this line here is part of that triangle. Therefore, so I'm running out of room, sorry. Therefore, AD must equal AB. Oops, CB. Because these are the other sides of the triangle, and then those must be equal. So that's it. I'll see you tomorrow as we work on the assignment together. Hopefully you understood.